Welcome to the May edition of Local Image. I'm your host, Judy Skye Voss. We've come to the new Veterans Memorial Park here in North St. Paul. The park was officially dedicated last August, and coming up on June 14th, a ceremony is scheduled to celebrate the completion of the paver installation here. This memorial park honors American veterans of all eras. And on today's show, in recognition of Memorial Day this month, we visit with a Vietnam veteran who lives just north of here in White Bear Lake. Conrad Layton recently authored the book War Stories, a GI reporter in Vietnam. His wartime articles, letters home, and photographs taken while in Vietnam are weaved together in the book and are the focus of this Local Image interview. What was your role in Vietnam?
I was primarily a writer. That's what my MOS is. We had photographers, but I was an enthusiastic photographer by that point.
How long were you serving in Vietnam?
Exactly 365 days.
Okay. How often did you write to your mom and dad? What do you think?
Every 2 days, a day or two, and long letters like this. One thing they don't talk about in Vietnam is how boring it was. And rather than getting into pot or drinking or all that stuff, I wrote home. And apparently, they told me afterwards that my spelling gave them hours of endless pleasure. I can't spell worth prunes, but still can't.
Show me the very first thing that you wrote home to mom and dad. And where were you when you wrote that?
I was in Cam Ranh Bay. I'd just flown in and had no idea where I was going to end up. Mm-hmm. And so, and this kind of reflects that.
Let's have a little piece of that.
It says, "Dear Mom, Dad, and Becky, I made it through. I lost Sunday altogether. My address is still temporary. Please don't write to Cam Ranh Bay. This afternoon I moved to another replacement center farther south in Ben Hoa near Saigon. I should know in a day or so where I'm to be stationed. I've seen my first natives. They are small, have very good posture, are strong, and their honesty is not above suspicion." That's it. I'm not sure I believe. Okay. "They look fascinating. Sandbags, helicopters, wooden barracks appear almost in endless supply. I'm in a little or no danger. For a typical American with a fetish about cleanliness, Vietnam is bothersome. Shower systems are primitive, latrines don't have running water, and sand is everywhere. I brought too much junk with me. Love, Conrad."
All of this you did for the time that you were there in Vietnam, and now, all these years later, what happened that you said, I need to write a book?
Well, it started out with my friend, a guy I had not met before, contacting me, and he's kind of a military gadfly. He'd been in my division. I didn't know him, but he's just fascinated with this stuff. And so at some point he found out about me. And he's really good on the internet. And so he managed to find the guy I'd been out in the jungle with, that unit, one of the key guys. And this guy in the unit ran down all of the fellows in his unit using internet, which, is kind of beyond me. But he did figure out how to do it. And so we had reunions, and I got their email addresses, and so that was what brought this out. So I started printing pictures and scanning them and then sending out emails. We had a great time. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really enthusiastic about the Vietnam War. I mean, it's a war I really didn't approve of.
Yeah.
But it was a stupid war, but it was my stupid war. And so I didn't care about the war, but I began to realize I did care about the guys I'd been over there with. And so at a certain point, I started getting enthusiastic about it, started writing a thing. And then after I got into it, I realized the best way to organize it was through my letters home, because they had dates on them and everything. And a lot of them talked about the stories I was writing. In fact, most of them did. So I was able to assemble this thing with pictures, stories, letters, and it started having a good time with it.
There's a story that you have about a dog.
Wrote a lot of dog stories. Pets were a big deal over there.
Okay.
It's something a lot of people don't talk about.
So this is actually
here's the actual story.
the article.
Yeah, and this one actually made it into Stars and Stripes. If you got in there, you made
time.
it. So this is a big time story.
Okay, let's hear some of that.
GI's four-legged war trophy to swap sunshine for snow. Benoit, Vietnam. During a year's tour in Vietnam, GIs develop a startling knack for accumulating some outlandish collections of war stories. They are understandably reluctant to allow their prized possessions to fall by the wayside. Sergeant George Dexter is especially proud of his prized possession, his dog Thor. So proud, in fact, that he's taking Thor home with him. Dexter is quick to defend his pooch from the assaults of prudish pedigree specialists. I've become attached to him. He's different from other dogs. He doesn't act like a dog, Dexter says loyally. Thor isn't any breed of hound in particular. He's a small, thin, black and white splotched, easygoing Vietnamese dog with a winning yawn. Thor is known in his neighborhood for his ability to celebrate every noteworthy occasion by sleeping soundly through it. Like any prospective GI trying to get into the Army, Thor has to take a physical before he can go back to Dexter's world. Later, he will become the first Vietnamese dog in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Oh, man.
Isn't that fun? I think there's some value in seeing the little lives. And I certainly talk about a lot of them here. We were primarily trying to, encourage people, pep them up, send out stuff to the papers at home, and trying to keep morale up.
Right, right.
A lot of these are short. In fact, almost all these are short stories. They really are. I was originally going to call this Little War Stories. That's what I wanted. But my publishers took the little off. It says it's a war book.
Yeah.
But a lot of the books, all the combat and there's not a lot of combat in
right.
here.
It's more of
It's
the
more,
life.
It's
and
more
experiences
life, and this is not necessarily typical of what other people had. I mean, there's some people, even when I was there, that were having a really ghastly experience farther north. I was fairly far south.
You talked to me earlier, off camera, a little bit about this kind of marketplace. You write about that.
Maybe I should just read this one.
Sure.
Near Fire Sport Base Pershing. How important is a package from home, and what can you do in the bush when mom decides to send you a 10-pound birthday cake or an inedible Christmas present? The answers are either you eat it, share it, hump it, or throw it away. A whole trading culture is sprung up to handle any problem that might arise, like having more than you can eat or the wrong goodies. Several members of Alpha Company's 2nd Battalion, 7th Cavalry of the 1st Air Cavalry Division opened their company system to view. PFC Donald Crow gave a running description. It's kind of like a marketplace. We order it and get it from home, then we start trading. There are even sharp traders like me. I traded a can of Nestle's for a can of tuna fish. What I didn't tell the guy was that he needed milk. It gets sophisticated. We even have trading on credit. It's generally agreed that the contents of food packages are a welcome addition to sea rations and LERPs. As one grunt summed it up, it's an attractive nuisance we'd be sorry to live without. Isn't that fun?
You mentioned this magazine here. So this is a very, called The First Team. What is this story about briefly?
Well, this is the cachet.
Okay.
This is my pride and joy. This is, I think, my best story.
Oh my goodness.
So this is these are some of the same from the same time.
Cachet.
This is the picture. I wish I could have gotten my hands on the actual slide because I think it's
Yeah,
one of my
that's
great
cool.
pictures. It's Tim Payne, he's still a friend of mine, and
Oh, awesome.
And he suffered.
Yeah.
It shows how uncomfortable they were. Jungle was wet all the time. It would rain only part of the day, but the problem was it stayed wet, and so we were running around in the wet all the time, and it was just amazingly miserable.
It's stories like this and so many others that are in this book, just little insights that you don't necessarily get, which is great about
Well,
this
I'm
book.
very curious to see what people think,
Yeah.
because and I'm also hoping that I can, find a few people, bring them out of the bush that were, that I've lost touch with.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and your book and your pictures and your home with us today. We really appreciate it. And most importantly, thanks for your service.
Oh, well, thank you.
Conrad Layton's book, War Stories, a GI Reporter in Vietnam, 1970 to 1971, is available at Amazon.com, and we sure hope you check it out. Now, while those serving in the military know that signing up to serve can mean putting oneself in harm's way, that wasn't the case for our co-worker, Master Control Operator Ray Widstrand. Ray put himself in harm's way on August 4th of 2013 when he instinctively stepped into the middle of a street fight between two women in the East Side neighborhood where he was living. His heroic actions in trying to help one of the women nearly took his own life, actions that the St. Paul Police Department applauded and honored at a recent awards ceremony, and Ray invited us to join him on his special day.
Your efforts helped save a young woman that night, but also changed your life forever and your families. Your honorable actions have positively impacted our community. It is a great pleasure to present you with the Chief's Award for Valor, and thanks for your courageous intervention.
Well, today Ray gets honored for his courageous, heroic actions for August 4th of 2013.
We love to recognize citizens here, and we've got really strong-held traditions in the St. Paul Police Department. I pay police officers, and we get paid to go into harm's way. You don't. And what you did was simply heroic. We're so proud of you. And again, let's give Mr. Widstrand a loud round of applause.
It's really an honor not just to have my actions recognized, but I also hope we recognize the hard work that other people have put into, especially the police. While I am deeply honored to get this award, I'm excited that we're also acknowledging people like Taniqua Givens, people who put themselves in harm's way to help strangers, because there is a lot of good inside of humanity. And I think it's important that we recognize that and not just focus on the dark, but see that there's a great wealth of light that is within humanity.
Ray's a unique individual, and for him to talk more about Taniqua, who actually came to help him, I spoke about paying it forward. Ray puts himself in tremendous harm's way, and Taniqua, who's actually out there at the party, throwing herself on top of Ray, maybe saving his life.
It means a lot. I'm glad I saved him, and I'm glad he's here with his family. I could have walked past and let it happen, but that's just not me. And if I could, I'd do it again. Exquisite to meet him. And I love his Kool-Aid smile. He seems like the same person he was.
His positive energy and his positive attitude, the fact that he brings something that could make others just fall into a deep, dark hole. He just brings this personality and humor and enjoyment of the fact that life is much, much more.
I'm doing well. The recovery has gone quite nicely. I've progressed a long way. There still are a few more hurdles, ways for me to go, but for the most part, I feel like I've come a long way, and I'll keep going every day a little bit better.
He has his ups and downs, for sure. Physically, I think he's doing very well. Mentally too. I believe that he's just going to continue to get better and grow. But it has been tough.
He's gotten better every time I've seen him, and he's come a long way.
And I have a ways to go in my recovery. Every day a little bit better, but I hope that to recover fully. To get back out on my own. And I actually have recently started to get involved with the Brain Injury Alliance. They're helping me again with my recovery as far as wanting to move out and do more things independently. They're looking for housing options for me. So again, and I want to get more involved with them. I just want to thank people who are here and who aren't here but who have been there for me in spirit. I've been in a lot of people's prayers, a lot of people's thoughts, and I just want to thank them because, you know, even if you're not physically here, it still means a lot to me just to have that support.
Ray is truly an inspirational young man who we are very happy to call our co-worker, and it was great to be there to see him get this well-deserved recognition. Now, speaking of co-workers, I recently met up with 2 members of the City of Vadnais Heights staff and a local developer for an update on some exciting new business ventures in the works in Vadnais Heights. There are a number of places that are coming to Vadnais Heights, and some of them have already opened up in recent weeks even. Let's start with this one, Fresh Time Farmers Market. People are really excited about this place coming here.
Well, residents are really excited because this keeps a grocery store in Vadnais Heights, and I know many folks loved Festival Foods when it was here, and it's still a staple with their headquarters in Vadnais Heights. So keeping that grocery store option that's a full grocery store, I think folks are really excited about, and the city council and the city is very excited about it as well. So.
Yeah. Jeff, can you tell us, having owned this complex since the beginning over many years, what excites you about what's happening here in Vadnais Heights now?
Well, it's been fantastic since 2000 when we built the building here and brought Target in next door and all these retailers. It's just been fantastic to see the growth of this shopping center, but then also the entire surrounding area of Vadnais Heights and the 4 corners of the city center district. And we enjoyed, and the city and citizens of Vadnais Heights enjoyed having Festival Foods here for many, many years. But as we all know, that the grocery industry has changed dramatically in the last several years, if not even longer than that. And so it was time to change with that industry. And people of Vadnais Heights were looking for a newer concept grocery store, the fresh concept, the organic foods, healthier foods, that type of thing. And after spending literally several years looking for a new grocery concept that would fit within the city but would give the residents of the city what they're looking for, we found the Fresh Time Farmers Market concept, and we're just really excited to be here today with you and under construction and building out this brand new grocery store that'll open soon here in late summer of 2016.
And my gosh, this place, obviously it's, you know, empty right now, but it's huge. This is going to be a big store. How exciting is this for you, because you're fairly new to your position with the city in economic development?
I am fairly new. This is very exciting. This is the kind of things that you go to school and you hope you can work on projects like this. So we're happy to have a property owner like Jeff who is willing to do the work and try and find a nice tenant that'll be long lasting. So this is great. We're very excited.
In any project of this size, it takes many years to put together, and I think we started in about 1993. And then this building was built in 2000. And ever since then, there is always movement going on within any sort of project, including such large renovations like this, that we're always working with the city and the city staff. And here in Vadnais Heights, it's fantastic.
We have great property owners, great staff that are working hard. We're a great location. We're right here at 694 and 35E, and just north of Minneapolis and St. Paul. So I think we're really attractive to retailers, industrial businesses, commercial businesses. So I think we're fortunate in location, but we also have the right players on the bus currently with the city council and staff and property owners that are really taking the necessary steps to make good things happen.
Well, why don't each of you tell us about maybe one of the up-and-coming businesses or one that recently opened here in Vadnais Heights that you think people should know about?
Well, right now we have a new commercial building under construction at the corner of 96 and Centerville, and that is in the Heights Plaza Shopping Center. It's a freestanding building, and there are 2 tenants that will be in there, and we're very excited that Punch Pizza is going to be one of the tenants. Yes. The second tenant has not been announced yet, but hopefully soon.
Okay.
People's Bank is constructing a new bank building on the corner of 61 and County Road E, and they literally just broke ground maybe today or yesterday.
Wow.
So we're excited to welcome them to Vadnais Heights, as well as a Quick Trip convenience store is going to be breaking ground later this summer along Highway 61 and Berkeley Road. So there are a few. I don't want to take them all. Let Kevin take some of them too.
But share the love now. Let it go. All right. Jeff, what do you think?
Okay, well, I've got to talk about the shopping center.
Please.
All right, great. Well, Fresh Time Farmers Market, we discussed that, but this used to be a larger box space here. And so we did divide it, and on the other side of the wall over there is a new tenant called Pet Supplies Plus. It's a national chain of pet supplies, grooming, washing, all the products and services that you need. And then a little further down in the building, we have a brand new tenant that just opened up called European Wax Center. And that's another national franchise with a couple of local women that got together to develop that. And I suggest you go down and take a look at it. This store is gorgeous, and they really got something going.
You've got your waxing appointment already scheduled, right?
Kevin and I are going down after this interview. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Kevin, some other ones you'd want to mention?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure many have heard about Gable Pines. It's a new senior development that's happening just down the road on County Road E. They should be opening here end of June, so we're looking forward to their grand opening. We took a tour the other day, and the units look great, so we're really excited to have them opening up. I know the City Council is considering a new mini storage facility up off of Labor Road, so they'll be considering approval for that coming up. But we have a lot of just development here in the last couple of years with Summit Orthopedic, with the Alina Clinic, Urgency Room, Fairfield Inn has gone up recently. And we do have a Jimmy John's that opened up next to Jimmy's. Everybody loves Jimmy John's.
Well, there's so much happening in Vadnais Heights, and if folks haven't been to this area, they really should, because it's all right here, everything you could possibly want, and it's such a beautiful community and great people like yourselves working, living, playing in this area. So congrats and best wishes on all these great projects.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
The City of Vadnais Heights would like to thank the board of the VHEDC and their executive director, Ling Becker, for their support in making these new business developments possible. Other business news of note in the city include Gentry Academy, a private academy focused on academics, leadership, and athletics, coming soon. The remodeling of a Taco Bell near 694 and Rice Street, and construction of a Luther Acura Subaru dealership. The city is conducting surveys of businesses and residents about development and looks to provide results of the surveys in the months ahead. Meanwhile, folks are invited to take part in several upcoming events, including the Taste of Vadnais Heights on July 12th. More information on all things Vadnais Heights can be found on the city's website. Now, our final segment on today's Local Image Show also features some area businesses, but the focus is on the importance of recycling when it comes to their bottom line. Learn more about the Biz Recycling program in this Local Image segment.
Well, the whole recycling initiative is really important to business. The taxes on trash are going up at a very dramatic rate. And so part of our job is to help business so that they can be more not only responsive to environmental issues, but also to help save money.
About 2 years ago, we had a little increase in our garbage bill because of a landfill tax that the county put in place. We decided to look at ways of reducing our cost, and we had to incorporate it into the community in a way that was acceptable to all of our residents. We received a container grant from Biz Recycling. This was a county thing that was funded by the tax money that they're charging on the landfill. We got a lot of containers throughout the building, and each resident has a container, and they bring that to the recycling place. We have 6 collection areas around the community. We doubled our single stream recycling output, so that was a big thing. We went with the composting program where we were able to put all of our paper products in with the food scraps, and it's composted and put on a farmer's field. We have some very good long-time residents that just said, you know, it's about time. The staff was very open-minded about it. We knew at the beginning it was going to be a team process because everybody had to be on board. When the tax first went into effect, I think our bill was right around $2,600 that month, and that's what came down from our corporate office. And right now we're at about $930 a month for our garbage bill, and so it's pretty substantial.
This is important in that the business really needs to take advantage of these programs that are out there to help them with waste reduction.
Well, we've kind of always gravitated that way, towards recycling, towards being cleaner, towards trying to figure out, you know, what works best. We don't do it because of the incentives though, we just do it because it's the right thing to do. We get rid of our grease, we recycle our grease. We also recycle per usual, you know, our cardboard and our plastics and all that, and separate all that out. And then we do, like I said, we started doing a lot of composting too. So we do about 5,000 to 6,000 pounds of compost a month. I think composting is an easy step because most restaurants have tons of food waste. You know, nobody wants to throw food away, but in reality we do throw lots of food away because we're scraping plates off and we can't reuse that. Well, where's that going? You know, you take a dish and throw it into a garbage bag and throw it into a landfill. When you don't need to waste that bag, you can just put it in a bin, put it in a dumpster outside, and it goes somewhere else and it dissipates. They're just used to it, and that, you know, everything, they know where it all goes. We have everything clearly marked for them, so they just bring it where it's supposed to go and out it goes. I don't think it's difficult at all. I mean, it's making sure you have a process set in place to do it.
There's a short process that takes you about an hour that you can apply and get some support potentially from the county on items that will help you do a better job in saving money by lowering your waste rate.
This is good for business. It makes you look great to your customers, makes you feel good that you are doing something for the environment, and you save a lot of money. It's win-win-win for everybody. It used to be we had one giant dumpster that everything was thrown into it. And then we started to recycle food waste, scraps, things that fell on the floor. We could sweep those up and we could put those into a food waste bin, and those would be recycled into and blended with a protein, and they make animal feed out of it. Recently, through Biz Recycling, Ramsey County is offering some grants. Through the grant, we were able to get one that has 3 compartments instead of 1, matched perfectly. It looks like it's always been there. They did all the legwork on that. They found the compostable cups for me and the lids, and they just made it so easy. This stuff is mandated to happen, and with the increases in taxes, it's just, you're foolish if you just don't jump on board and get on with this. We used to have pickup 7 days a week at our Berkeley Road store, and now we're down to 3 days a week, and I think pretty soon we could cut it down to 2 days a week.
And if anybody is interested in finding out more about it, all they need to do is contact the White Bear Area Chamber of Commerce, and they could give me a call. It's 651-429-8593.
Well, that's all the time we have for this month's show. Thank you to all who worked so hard to make the Veterans Memorial Park here in North St. Paul such a wonderful tribute. Happy Memorial Day to all, and happy Mother's Day too. And as always, I do thank you for watching Local Image.